Welcome to Happy Hour with Ruth
and Roxy. Welcome here. Good to see you guys.
Welcome here, there, everywhere. and it's Friday. Exactly. We're so happy to be here because
we are.
Because let's fess up, Roxanne. We spent 2 days last weekend doing planning and hanging out and having a really great time, and we'll talk about that. But we also were having so much fun. And it's not that we forgot, it's that time got away from us. Because we were planning on what to say on the podcast, and then we looked up and it was late.
There's no more time to record a podcast.
Yes.
How did that happen?
That's exactly. But it was absolutely valuable. I think, although I have to say, I woke up yesterday and this morning and it was like, oh, they were here last week.
I know.
And it was sad.
It was sad that we were here.
No, that you weren't here now. Right, that you weren't here now. Yes. No, it was very happy.
It was really fun. It was really fun.
It was mostly fun until Paul had a bad golf game and I don't know what happened. He turned into drunk uncle, man.
He was fantastic.
We'll have to put that picture in of him. He was really funny because he was like, he was truly upset. Yeah. And then he might have had a couple of beer on the golf course. And then I don't know, because beer doesn't usually hit him like that. But he got home and he had googly eyes.
Oh, he did. Oh, he really did. And I think it was more than a couple. According to Ray's, like, I just kept buying him beer until he felt better. But he's such a good sport, though, right? Like they both are. And that's why I think they golf well together. They're both pretty evenly matched skill-wise. And so when one of them has a bad day, it's because they blew up, you know?
Yeah.
So Ray knows that, Paul knows that. So
Paul mostly knows it. It didn't feel like he knew it that evening. And really, we will have to put that picture in because he was having a ridiculously good time being in a bad mood.
Yes, he really was.
Right? Like it was.
But then he got the hiccups, and that was
that was really funny. What did he get? 42?
Stop that.
40 something.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask Ray. I think we have it on tape.
Yeah. Oh, we've got lots of it on tape. I kept recording him and he's like, shut it off. Stop recording me.
But then the funny part was he would go and look at Ray to see how many it was. That's right. Like he would immediately look at Ray for the count.
But that was a funny moment. So what are you drinking today?
Well, I'm drinking a bottle of cava that our very lovely friend Terry brought, not this last time she was here, the time before we didn't get to. And I meant to have it when she was here because she came in the Saturday morning when you guys left. You guys passed. You had a 10-minute pass, right? So it's called Villa Concha and it's from Spain. So hold
the label up because it's a really pretty label.
Here we go. Well, here, and this is for our, there we go. It is a very pretty label, but you know, as I will have to give it a little try because quite often I find that they're a bit sweet for me. So we will see. So what are you drinking while I take a little sip and see if I like?
I am drinking a glass of Pinot Noir from Whitehaven, which is
that's New Zealand and Marlborough.
Yeah, that's a New Zealand Pinot, and this is really good. And I am drinking red wine because I had a visit with my friend Diane yesterday, and she told me that she is off beer and white wine right now.
Oh, wow.
And she's drinking red wine because red wine has health benefits.
Yeah, it does.
And they are in training for this big trip they're doing. They're hiking the Alps.
Right. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So she's like, only stuff that's, good for me. And I'm like, well, this is why I don't hike the Alps. So
no, that's awesome. That's really good.
That is really nice. And it's also just a little bit, the weather's weird here today. Yeah. It was cool and cloudy, and then it was thundery and rainy and haily. Wow. And then now it's dried and coming out, the sun's coming out again. But for a little while, it was a bit chilly, and that's when I want to drink red wine. I don't want to drink red wine when it's hot.
No.
But so it feels good for today.
Yeah. No, and that's good. And it's nice that, you can think about the health benefits to it because red is, I don't think white's as bad for you as some drinks, but red is better. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Is kind of the thing.
Yeah. Antioxidants for the win.
Yeah. Yep. Nope, absolutely. So, last week when you were here, we went out for a lovely dinner that you took us out for, right? At the Nanu's Bay Cafe. And we've got some pictures we'll put up of that because that was and we did sort of a lot of share plates, which was a really great way to do it, right? But
Oh, the
we'll
food was
put some
good.
photos up. It was really good. And the server was fabulous, right? The view is over a marina.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really nice place. And I am going to write a bit of a blog post review on it
Oh, good.
as sort of part of it because it really is. You want to uplift the places, although I think a lot of people know how great it is because, it's
It was
always
full.
busy.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was busy.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll have to do that. And then we got up and we went to Goats on the Roof, well, which is actually called the Coombs Country Market,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anybody who's been out that direction has probably stopped in at
Yeah.
Goats on the Roof.
Yeah.
And it's a very nostalgic place for me because when we would have our family trips for 10 years minimum, I think, and then there's been some, but it was 10 years in a row that we took our kids to Tofino
Yeah.
in September. And we always had to stop in at Coombs, always.
Yeah.
Because it's Coombs. And
Yeah.
we never got up as early as you and I got up. So
Yeah.
when we were there with our kids, it was always really crowded. And it's a lot nicer when it's not
When
crowded.
it's not. Well, and I can't even imagine because it's a huge tourist destination now because
Hmm.
it is a sort of huge country store, but it has things from all over the world and it has some of the best cheese prices I've ever seen. My goodness, like the cheese
You're
prices
right
are
about that.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? And some of the other stuff you can't get are still really good prices, but they have a big sort of back field where there are goats, but the goats climb up on the roof. So as you're driving by, you can actually see the goats on the roof.
Okay. And you know what? Like I had a complete brain out while I was shopping there because I came home and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to try the
Oh, the
marmalade
whiskey.
that I bought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whiskey marmalade.
Apparently I didn't buy it. Took a picture of it, didn't put it in my cart. And then I'm like, we did a cheese, like a charcuterie board yesterday with our friends. And I'm like, oh, this is good. I'll put out the pecorino cheese I bought. Nope, apparently didn't buy that either.
You bought it. I was with you.
I thought I'd bought it and I didn't.
I bought because I bought two of them on purpose because they were a good price. And so I got mine. Maybe I'll look and see if maybe I got three of them.
If you
Oh,
had
that's
three of
funny.
them, well, then that would explain it.
Yeah.
But and there were other things too. I'm like, oh, I really, why didn't I buy that? But I bought Guinness flavored potato chips. Uh, I mean, I have my priorities.
Yes, you do. And I do have to say they're good. They don't taste like
They
Guinness.
don't taste like Guinness. They are good though.
They
Yeah.
are good.
So
And they're different, right?
they're
But
different.
I really was expecting sort of this multi flavor or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not, and more like way back in the day when they first came out, there was like a roast chicken potato chip
Yes.
that I loved,
But it
right?
didn't taste like roast chicken.
No, but also everything that's kind of a bit odd just kind of tastes like that,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's kind of this, oh well, there's flavor. It's not what you're telling me it is,
No. Because
right?
chips still have to taste like potato chips,
Well, and
you
to
know?
be fair, ketchup chips don't taste like ketchup.
They taste yeah.
They
Yeah.
taste red.
Red. Red isn't a flavor.
I
I
know,
have bad news for you.
but they do. They just taste red. Like they're good, but they taste red,
Okay, here's a
right?
question for you. If somebody was blind, how would you describe a color to them?
Oh, huh.
Because I've thought about this and you reminded me. So there's this
Yeah,
whole idea of synesthesia. Have you heard of
yeah,
synesthesia,
yes,
right? When one of your senses
yeah,
interprets another thing through that sense. So it's like when you hear a color or you
yeah,
you see music, right? You're
yeah.
you're not using the right sense for that. But so I'm like, I know how I would describe green. I would be like, okay, so it's probably like crunchy and juicy and maybe it smells really fresh. But how would you describe color to someone who's never seen color? Like,
That's just it. Because if they've never seen it, they have no frame of reference.
yeah, yeah.
There is a Big Bang Theory episode, surprise, I have a Big Bang Theory episode to reference. And it's where Sheldon talks about colors. And he's like, well, you know how, let's say it's the color green, tastes like the speed of light. And the first time I heard him say something like that, it was like, how do you know what the speed of light tastes like?
Hmm.
Like, but because although they never said he was neurodivergent, to me it was pretty clear he was neurodivergent,
Oh yeah.
and this was his way of describing it. But like, I think I would say the color green. It's like, when you put your head into a whole bunch of grass and smell that smell, right? Green is that smell color. So
Okay.
so yeah. So if you were describing orange, what would you say to them?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like the only way I can do it is to use other like smell, right?
Yeah, smell or taste,
Yeah,
right? Like I don't, nothing feels orange, but
right,
like citrus
right.
tastes orange
Yeah,
or
yeah,
yellow or maybe
yeah,
green,
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
So it's like and even words like bright, I think of,
Right.
orange and yellow.
Yes. So
That's a
how you
that's a
frame them. But
yeah. But
if you've never seen it, how do you know what bright is?
so would you say warm then? Because that, I guess that is a way
Right.
of sort of,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
interesting thought, eh?
That is interesting. And it's funny how much of that kind of because of our senses, we take the language for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It is
Yeah,
because there's other elements that we
yeah,
can touch
yeah.
them and feel them and smell them and taste them and
Mm-hmm.
see them. But that is really interesting. And it's a little bit goes into the how do you how do you communicate with somebody who has a completely different language, right? And
Yeah.
not a language where there's some words that are like French because we took French in school. You can
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
I can at least pick up a bit of what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I might not have the details, but I kind of know whether they're mad or happy or they're
Yeah.
talking about wine. But how would you but if somebody is speaking Chinese, I wouldn't know.
No, no, not at all. But that's sort of one of the, like for both of us, that's one of the challenges I think we like about being writers,
Yeah,
because you have to find ways of describing things that are
yeah,
going to be fresh and, a
yeah,
little different, but also that people will understand,
yeah. Yeah, you can't go
So,
too far, right? Like
no.
that. Sometimes you see it. We used to see it with sort of new writers, and they would try so hard to be
Hmm.
different, and
Hmm.
it was like, okay, you can't invent your own language,
Nope.
and who outside of your group of friends will understand what any of this
Hmm.
means,
Hmm.
right? It's one of that. Although having said that, my niece Trina, in high school, she hung around with a group of girls, which my husband Paul went to school and her husband Ryan, right? And
Right.
that what all the guys called Trina and all of her girlfriends, because they were some of, I think, the most popular girls in the school, but they were always together. So they called them the herd. Now, and
Totally.
but they're from Alberta, so I guess it kind
Sure.
of made sense.
Yeah.
But these 5, 7, teenagers had their own language.
Oh.
Right. And to this day, the other day I was like, we were talking about something about his high school years. And I said, I wonder if Trina still knows her language. And I texted her and she sent me a voice recording back and it was her talking in the language,
No.
which is really spectacular after all these years,
Oh,
right?
no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting. That
Yeah.
is
I'll have to get her
interesting.
to give us like a clip that we
Yeah.
can play and we could try to
Yeah.
interpret it. And
Yeah.
then I'll get the real meaning from her after. Like I won't look at it until we try to interpret it.
I love that stuff. Okay, so that brings me to something else. So last night, my husband
Your
Ray,
husband, Ray?
and my current husband Ray, um, uh, actually he's in my good books right now, so I'll keep him for a bit longer. We watched Project Hail Mary
Oh, that's funny.
because,
Paul watched that on the plane last night.
oh, did he?
Yeah.
So you know the gist of it. It's, guy has to go
Yeah.
on a secret mission, not a secret mission, but he has
Yeah.
to go on an astronaut mission to the sun to save
And
the
he's
sun.
just a guy, right?
He's,
Like,
well, he is actually a really, really well trained and
right,
kind of famous scientist, but he screwed up in his past. And so he was
right,
a middle school
right,
science teacher,
right.
but he's got the creds. He's a
Yeah.
PhD and whatever, but
But he's not an astronaut,
oh, he's
right?
not an astronaut. He
Right.
makes that very clear.
Yeah.
So anyway, but he goes and he ends up meeting an alien. That's not a spoiler, but they have to learn to communicate. And that stuff is always fascinating to me
Yeah.
because how do you start? How do
Yeah.
you start? So of course they had laptops that were, ended
Yeah.
up doing the work. But first it was like, hold up one digit and figure out
Right.
what does that mean to you? Like, how
Yeah.
do you say one?
Yeah.
How do you say
Yeah.
your name? How do you, point?
Right.
Anyway, that idea of communicating with somebody who doesn't speak your language is
Yeah.
so fascinating to me,
Yeah.
and it's so the average person outside of Hollywood would not think of that. I'm sure.
No, no,
You
and
know?
I think the other side of that. So the last time we when we went to Kenya, we were in Paris first, and right across from our little Airbnb, there were these. It was a little tiny restaurant, and the two brothers that ran it were Eastern European, but they were in Paris, so they spoke French too.
Okay.
But my French is limited, so and their English was limited, and their native language was an Eastern European language, and I'm not even sure I knew what that was because I had no hope there.
Right.
But it was really funny because over sort of a 4 nights, because we would always stop in there for a nightcap on when we got back, is somehow we found a way to communicate, like so much so that by the end we were leaving, they're hugging me, we're all crying, like, and so the language actually was less of a barrier
Oh,
than their kindness. You know what I mean? Or my
wow.
openness to because I was asking them how they got their restaurant, and because they did serve sort of Eastern European foods. It was hearty stuff, and you're in Paris, right? You expect cheese platters, and so
And
we
baguettes.
yeah, and we sort of had this interesting conversation that really probably didn't have many facts in it, except we both understood that, this was their fresh start coming from whatever Eastern European country that I
Hmm.
understood they fled from, right? So I
Okay.
didn't know what
Okay.
country, but I knew they had
Yeah.
gotten,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it was interesting because, you know, music is a universal language. Kindness feels like a universal language. So
Mm-hmm.
so then we just have to find the words we all understand,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
I think I've talked before about a book it's either called Paris Letters or Letters from Paris.
Oh yeah, letters from Paris.
Letters from Paris. Okay, and it's Janet McLeod is the author, I believe. But I'll
And you have a steel
keep
trap
going.
for authors. That's like,
Oh,
that
wow.
always impresses me.
Well, okay, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So I have that one in print and on audio, and that's one that I often listen to at night when I'm trying to go to sleep because I
Right.
know it, so it's no
Yeah.
surprises. But the love story in that, and it's a memoir,
Yeah.
it's a true story about one of the first Etsy success stories,
Oh, wow.
right? Because she started painting letters in Paris,
Oh, that's right.
painting
Right.
watercolors, and then
Right.
she already had a subscription going with people who wanted to her art. She's an artist.
Yeah.
Who wanted her stuff, and so she just started doing her thing. And anyway, but she meets a man in Paris. He's not a native Parisian. He's a is he Belgian? I think he might be Belgian, but he doesn't speak English and he doesn't really speak French and she doesn't speak whatever his language is, and yet they end up falling in love.
Yeah.
And she has lots of great comments in there about how, you don't need language if you have the right connection, you treat each other
Yeah.
well, like you
Yeah.
can communicate in other
Yeah.
ways, right?
Yeah.
And I love that book for many reasons, but that's part of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how on earth do you form a relationship with someone when you can't have a conversation?
Yeah.
And but they start having conversations, really,
Right.
really rough ones,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
like.
And then it kind of evolves, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like it's and so I mean, that reminded me, and well, I guess our relationships with our dogs or our pets is a bit of a love story,
Yes.
but we sort of do that, like it's
Yeah.
hand signals and it's
Hmm.
feelings. Like
Hmm.
I can, we used to, and I mean, our dogs are all big babies, so if they hurt their little paw,
Oh,
and they're kind, but they're like they let you know that they want on my lap.
oh yeah.
Right, like
Oh
that,
yeah.
there's none of that, but there's all this stuff. You look and you can look at them, and they're looking, sitting at you, wagging, and they're telling you they're happy.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? You
Oh
can
yeah.
feel all of that. But we also, the first time when we went to South Africa on safari, we were at Londolozi, a most fabulous place that I've talked about before. But we were out there, and our tracker was a fellow from a local village, right? And they hired these trackers because they've grown up with the animals. They know how to try. They can find them anywhere. I mean, it's this magical thing. But they have their own tribal language, right? And even if the tribe is a bit bigger, they have local dialects of that language,
Oh sure.
right? And so it's there. So he didn't really, it was a bit challenging, and he was trying to help us understand, because we were interested in, how did you know to stop there? So
Mhm.
he was trying to
Mhm.
talk to us. And then all of a sudden, and this is back in the day of Rob Ford, and we're driving along, and the ranger who spoke English said, "Oh, you guys are from Vancouver." And we said yes. And all of a sudden the tracker perked up and he said, "Canada." And it's like, "Yes." And he said,
Oh.
"Oh, Rob Ford."
Oh.
And everybody just started laughing, right? But here's this guy. They only get to really see TV when they're when
Yeah.
they're like on duty in the lodge, like staying where the trackers and the guides stay. They only get to see TV there. And that's when he learned about Canada, right? Which was honestly pretty funny. Like out of all the English words he knew, Rob Ford were two of them.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But see, the language barrier, you can break through it if you have a crazy
Yeah.
politician.
Well, okay, so it's not Mercury retrograde right now, which is classically when technological stuff goes sideways, but we're maybe a month into
It was that big eclipse too, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. There was. Well, I'm going to say that right now I'm in a tech happy place, which is very unusual because usually, so I've been having email problems, as you know, for before we moved.
Yeah.
And
I've had to email, just so you guys know, I have to email at least 2 different addresses to make sure she gets one email.
Yeah, yeah. And what I discovered was that my Outlook wasn't working, and it took me a while to figure this out, to figure out that email messages I was replying to weren't going out. They were getting stuck in my outbox.
Right.
So I think, talking about communication, I think that I have sent a message to someone, and I'm assuming the next time we talk that they know what I said. No, they never got the message.
Right.
Tons of messages you didn't get or got late,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
3 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks
Oh
later.
yeah, and then all of a sudden 15 messages would come in. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ray got on the phone today, not with Shaw and not with Outlook, but with somebody on some help desk somewhere. He's like, I paid $5 for this. I'm like, well, you're going to get $5 worth of help then, probably.
Yeah.
But in fact, he solved the problem. And then Ray came upstairs with mine and he's like, okay, while it's fresh, I'm going to help you. Let's go in and change these things and change these things. And now I think my email's working.
Yay.
I'm scared. Yeah. I'm scared to say it because, but I tested it with you and it worked. So
yep, it did. So I think you're going to need to send me that help desk little thing because maybe somebody could come on up because we had somebody come to the house and do all the things, right? And set it up. And like I have internet in the dome, right? I've got it in the bubble. I've got like it's everywhere. And we brought a guy. He was here for 5 hours trying to figure out how he could give us the most whatever, right?
Okay.
But the other challenge is, it always seems people are like, oh, you're on a Mac. And it's like, Wi-Fi shouldn't matter what you're on.
Give us that. Don't blame the Mac. It is not Mac's fault.
No,
it's still, that's better.
Just it. But
Yeah. And then I think I told you about my other big win this week was that this dog treat business that we're partnering with an acquaintance of ours from the animal hospital is I've been building an e-commerce site for her.
Yeah.
Right? And this started January this year, maybe something like that. And then she had a bunch of things go on and we moved and all these things. So I got it to where it was like, yes, the website works.
Yeah.
Except not with a real credit card. You can't actually buy anything on it, but you can look at it all and you can see it all and you can add it to your cart and you just can't pay for it. I'm like, why? I'm so close to the end. Why I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
And so this week, whatever day it was, I spent all day, like literally, I started in the morning and I ended, Ray had just come home and the dogs were doing their crazy greeting thing. And I'm out there with my, cell phone in my hand, closing my door saying, I'll talk to you in a minute. Because right at the end and we made it work, but it was
that's awesome.
7 hours and 5 different tech support people. And they were, 4 out of the 5 were super helpful. The one was not helpful, but I still gave them appropriate reviews and they found the problem. It was
that's amazing.
Something stupid I'd done not stupid, but something I had done right at the beginning at the setup portion that was causing the problem. And it didn't
but how do you know?
To me. Yeah. It wasn't until, and this is after weeks, months of emailing, right?
Yeah.
Emailing. So I send an email, 2 days later, they get back. Then I try to understand what they're saying. I don't. So I send a message saying, what? And they respond saying, no, give us this, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what you're saying to me.
Yeah.
So finally I got on the phone and I just admitted, I don't know what anyone is saying to me. Can you please help me?
Yeah.
They made it work.
But the other side is there's a little lesson in there for all of us, especially us introverts that don't like telephones. Right? And I say it a lot. Like we'll talk about it, especially back in the day when we did a lot of media pitching, and we don't necessarily know, like, because honestly that it's changed too much. But it was always like, especially when we had somebody else was doing the media calls and they were like, well, I haven't heard from this reporter, and it's like, have you phoned them? right? You know, it's one of
Hmm.
those where and it's like to be fair, I'm supposed to say it straight, and then you get to say it.
To be fair.
To be fair, yes. I would avoid it too. I don't like the phone. Like even
No,
our lovely friend Pink Beverly texted me. She's like, "Let's do a catch-up phone call," and I love her, but it was
no,
like, no,
I don't want to do a
but
phone call.
no,
I know somebody
I'd
tried to
rather do
call
a
me.
Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom is different. Somebody
Yeah,
tried to call me earlier today, and I'm like, no, I don't know who you are. You're from Langley. It's probably a doctor trying to book some medical test with me, and I'm like, but I no, I don't know.
or it's somebody calling about Bell Canada or TELUS
Sure,
or because
and
and
that's
because
what I
it's all a big
assume.
con, right?
Yeah,
Like they get you on, and I'm always like, take me off your list, and then like 3 days later, it's another person from the same company, and it's like,
yeah,
why am I still on your list?
yeah. I just don't answer those.
Yeah,
So yeah, then my doctor's mad. She's like, we're trying to book an appointment for you. Well, try harder,
right.
honey.
Yeah. Text me. I'll
Text
answer.
me. Text me.
That's
Texting works.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what Ray tells
Exactly.
everyone. He's like, I don't answer my phone. Send me a text.
Yeah. I should leave that on my voicemail.
Yeah, you should. I should too. Wait, do I have voicemail?
You must have voicemail. Everybody has voicemail.
Yeah, but do they set it? Mine
Oh,
is
that's
actually set up.
funny.
It is set up now.
You're funny. Okay, so let's talk about what we talked about last week. Some sort of, I mean, it's exciting for us. It might be, but we sort of set some segments for the
Yeah.
26, 27 season. We're re-energized. We're sort of creating some easily digestible components, little segments that will be regular, and one of which is Roxy's reads.
Hmm.
So tell
Because
us
I
what you're
mean,
going to share with everything, because I've never seen. I think I read a lot, but holy doodle, I talk to you and it's like, well, I've got 5 books on the go, and I'm three-quarters of the way through on 3 of them, and halfway through on the other 2.
yes, I do. It is my favorite thing. On a deserted island, I would have to have books with me or I would die. Food
Yeah.
I can go without, but not books. So yeah, I am always reading and I love to share books. And I think this is a community that also likes to get book
Yeah.
recommendations, right? And there's nothing like talking about a book that you love. And I do read really fast and I don't retain very well, but I do take notes and I keep track of what books I've read and I can usually remember something about them afterwards. And I have one to talk about today, kind of on that note. And I may have talked about this book before, but I'll talk about it in a little more depth today. The book is called The Secret Book Society, and the author is Madeline Martin. And this is historical women's fiction, and it's a little bit funny, but I'll read you a bit of the blurb. Set in London, 1895. Trapped by oppressive marriages and social expectations, 3 women receive a mysterious invitation to an afternoon tea at the home of the reclusive Lady Duxbury. Beneath the genteel facade of the gathering lies a secret book club, a sanctuary where they can discover freedom, sisterhood, and the courage to rewrite their stories. So this woman has her own backstory and reason for, starting this up, but she's particularly looking at one woman, and it's a woman who is in an arranged marriage, as they mostly were, and she had money. So of course the man who married her, that's why he married her. He wanted access to that. So here's just a couple of quotes in the book. This woman's name is Eleanor, and she says how she longed to lose herself in a story, to let her heart meld with that of a character, to witness plights resolved by the final chapter. But more than enjoyment, she was starved for connection, for the feeling that she wasn't always so very alone. And I think that that's something that books do for many of
Yeah.
us, right? Is
Oh, for
lots of
sure.
us were introverted as children when we started our whole reading habit,
Yeah.
and I think that may work for book groups. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No.
But here's another little quote here. The books, the empowerment of their friendship, the women that got together, they became friends. The knowledge that there was a world outside of obedience and the confidence to navigate it. The opportunity for a new life, for freedom. Those are things that she all discovered as
Right.
part of the books that they read, but also the
Right.
people that she was reading with.
Right. That's
Um,
so interesting. Hey.
what started with books and freedom became a sisterhood. Women ought not to tear one another down, but encourage and support one another. For together, truly great things may be achieved, and together we are now stronger, our happiness realized, our voices heard. And you and I were talking a little bit about something that we'll probably discuss more in depth in another episode. But we're talking about difficult people, and so this woman, Eleanor, has got it's a very bad, very dangerous marriage for her.
Right.
And this sort of speaks to the theme that you and I were talking about. Countless times, Eleanor gauged Cecil's temperament and adjusted her own actions in
Right.
accommodation. The ability had been fine-tuned over the years in response to his mercurial nature, helping her skirt his rage and protect herself until the skill had indeed become second nature. So this is what the older woman, the reclusive woman,
Right.
had recognized. She's like, this woman is living in a toxic relationship, a dangerous
Right.
relationship. And if her value to this husband
Right.
disappears, then she will die. Like
Right.
he'll find a way to,
To get
or
rid of her.
well, and what they did then was, of course, they had them declared insane and locked up
Right.
because it didn't take
Right.
much. You're hysterical, right? Your uterus is
Right.
making you crazy, so we need to lock you up for the good of.
Right. And they got away with it then,
They
right?
sure did. They sure
Yeah.
did. So anyway, I love
Yeah.
this book. It's super hopeful, and it's a little snapshot of what life
Yeah.
was like. It's fiction, of course, but historical fiction writers are very good at being
Yeah.
accurate in the details of the world building, right? Because they have to be, because people know this stuff. So if they get it wrong, they're going to hear about it. So they don't usually get it wrong. So anyway,
Well,
so there's my
and you lose your
recommendation.
reader. You know what I mean? Like
You absolutely will.
it's
Yeah.
no, that's a really good one. And I think it kind of does fall into I think I sent you a meme and it was sort of, so it's a grumpy man can control a family without ever raising his voice, right?
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
was where, and we've all done that, like as kids and adults, is like, you always have cranky Auntie Joan. I don't have an Aunt
Hmm.
Joan, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to get in trouble for saying
Yeah.
that. Whereas, like when she comes to visit, everybody's like, "Oh, you can't say this," and you go, "Oh," and she's
Hmm.
gonna,
Hmm.
this kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I remember having a coworker um, that as soon as she walked in the morning, you looked to see her mood because that would impact all of us,
Yeah.
right? If she was
Yeah.
in a good mood, it was, oh, I have Chalupa here. I don't know if you can see him.
Hi,
Can you
Chalupa.
see him? There we go.
There he
There he is.
is.
There
Handsome
he is.
dude.
Yeah, he wants to come and sit with me, so he's about to throw pillows around. But it was one of those where you walked on eggshells because there's like, oh,
Yeah.
she's cranky today, right?
We've
Or
we've
oh,
had
she
yeah.
had a good night last night, so it's
Yeah.
good today.
Yeah, exactly. We've
Yeah,
we've definitely had veterinarians like that over the course of,
yeah,
35 years of
yeah,
hiring people. And here's my take on that is that it's the people with power who will be displaying those behaviors.
yeah,
So veterinarians, sort of the top of the
yeah.
hierarchy in
Right.
a clinic.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's the people without power who learn to protect themselves.
yeah,
And that is women, children, animals. And that's why
yeah.
dogs are so good at
Right.
reading
Reading
body
people.
language. They
Right.
know because they can tell by looking at you. Are you tense? Are you happy?
Yeah,
Are you not happy? And children are the second,
yeah.
and women.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's been, I'm sure there were times when there was some danger involved. Like it, but
Hmm.
even when you're single and you're out at the pub, right, and talking about that, there were
Hmm.
times you looked around and body language, you were like, no, I'm not
Hmm.
talking to you, right?
Yeah.
There was something. So
Right.
speaking of what the woman in the book did,
Hmm.
so one of the things I want to do and is I want to do like a and we have to figure out a name for it, but like a happy hour weekend. And the first one I think we would do we would do a sort of a closer group, like me and you and say Terry and maybe a couple others, and we'd pick a date in early 2027, and everybody comes here, and that we could figure it. And Paul goes to your house, right, and plays golf. But we have like so you have at least 2 nights, right, where everybody's in charge of a meal. And we'll have up to 5 people because otherwise it gets too big.
Right.
The first one, I think we sort of curate who was in there. But my plan for this would that we would do this kind of thing every year and keep it to a small group, maybe not
Mhm.
that small, but let's do it so we figure out where's somewhere close that we could go. You do beach walks in the morning, you do the thing, and you create this sort of annual women's group, right?
Ooh.
That could do something and you kind of count on it every year and a little bit like what we used to do the moon dance, right? Where you might change it up every year,
Hmm.
right? Nobody ever really gets left out, but it depending on how it grows, you might have to to, if you came this year, your name doesn't go in the hat for that year, kind of.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I was
Yeah.
thinking, and it came from Ellen Hildebrand's 5-star weekend, which was a little bit different,
Yeah.
right? But I was thinking, wouldn't that be an interesting thing to do? You kind of see guys go off, typically guys, and have a golf weekend. And then the book club thing reminded me of that. And it's like, what if you had sort of this little 2-night, 3-day retreat where you could, and for us, it would be get input on the podcast and, do those kind of things and have this sort of this think tank community where it's like, well, here's what's going on in the world. And you do lots of little mini interviews with them. But wouldn't that be an interesting thing to sort of pilot in 2027, thinking that maybe we could expand it the next year, right? And bring more people.
Yeah, that could be fun. And you know what? We could do it at my house.
When you're there, and that's just it. It's like we could, but it's worth something thinking about, right? Let us know, community. Is this something you might be interested in doing? Is it something? I know Terry, when I chatted with her about it, she was really interested. And I know you and I briefly talked about it, but I was thinking more and more, this could be the start of that something bigger we've talked about, where what if every year you knew you could go on a trip with like-minded people and it was, you felt safe, but you also got to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That is a great idea. My sister and I did something similar probably quite a few years ago before COVID, where we went to this retreat. There was about 30 women there, but it was in Alberta somewhere, I think. So it was kind of like between BC and Saskatchewan. It was a good place to meet. But it was in BC. It doesn't matter, Rox. Why are you doing this?
Because we all do this.
Because I can cut this out.
It was Tuesday. No, it was Thursday. We all do it.
No one cares.
Yeah.
But it was fun. And then I did that one year at our house before Creekside, where I had 2 writer friends, one from California and one from Nova Scotia.
Right. Wow.
So when do we see each other? We only see each other at writers' conferences.
Yeah.
But I was in
cool.
BC, so we got together there and we just had a great time. It was amazing.
Yeah. I think there's real opportunity because it is about connection. And I think it really, after we had our sort of production meetings and planning meetings last week, it was like, how do we expand this out a little bit? I mean, we still want to grow our community because we're never going to be in all of us in the same room. That's too challenging. But it was one of those where it's like, if it's all about connection, what are the little, side adventures we could have too, right? Yes. And speaking of side adventures, I'm on my phase 3 of cleaning out my closets because, I am bound and determined to only pack what could fit in a carry-on to go to Italy. And this is a part of it. And
so is this Ruth on the loose?
This is Ruth on the loose. And I'm going to do at least some photos and maybe some video of me cleaning out because the closets are still packed. Yeah. And I realized it as I was going through the week, because it's been kind of funny weather here. And it was like, can't wear that. Don't want to wear that. Don't want to wear this. And I was doing it. And it's like, why do you have these clothes?
Oh, isn't that the question, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know about you, but I know that I tend to be an aspirational shopper. And you're really bad for me because you're like, oh, this would look good on you. Oh, you should wear these. These would be so much fun. And I'm like, yeah, they would be. I could be that person who wears like flamingo pants, silk pants. So I buy them. And then I come home and I'm like, the only person I can wear those with is Ruth. And she lives on the island now.
No, it's true,
though, right?
It is really fun. But it is also looking at things like as you start to, you start to think about waste and all the things, and there's so much. But then the other side is if you're not wearing them, like that money could go to wine or, to other things or to travel or to something. And it's just like, well, I need to think about this. And also I don't need something in every color.
Yeah, because only some colors work.
Yeah.
You know what? Until I saw you last weekend and we went shopping and we bought some very cool clothes. I had not bought anything since probably a month or 2 before our move, which was in May.
Okay, just for the record, I had already moved, so it wasn't like you didn't buy anything from the moment I moved.
Oh, I know.
But clearly my influence, has waned.
Yep. No, I'm like, no, I have to pack these clothes and I don't need anything more. And then we got here and I'm like, well, now our closet situation is pretty dire here. So I can't really add anything.
Life is hard for you.
Oh, stop it.
Roxanne has a closet fixation, and I've seen your closet. It's a perfectly. It is not a great closet, but it is a perfectly fine closet. Says somebody whose closet is now in what used to be the garage and is now the spare room slash office, right? Like it's one of
What?
those where
Your
it's like
closet is in there? I just slept in there for 2 nights.
it is in
What?
there, but I take clothes out and put it in my room when people are here
Oh, okay.
because we have like the other closet's too small and mostly it's Paul's.
Yes, well, you bought a small house. I
We
bought a
did buy a
big
small
house.
house.
And
It's true. You should
I
have
should have a bigger closet in here.
a
It's not
closet
like I
that is more
wanted,
suitable for the house.
yeah. I just wanted the closet size to be, what's the word? Commensurate with the house.
Measure it.
Commensurate?
Measure it. Okay, we're gonna have to look that one up.
It's like your payment will be commensurate with your experience.
Yes.
I want a closet that fits that. Anyway,
Yes.
so yeah, so I have not, so I felt very virtuous about that. That's what I was expecting. I'll give myself a pat on the back then. Thank you
Yeah, well,
for not buying
that's pretty
anything
good
since
though.
May. Yeah.
Nope, it is pretty
But
good.
also like I don't need the stuff,
No.
because I've got stuff in the other two closets upstairs here that are kind of situational clothing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't anticipate being in those situations,
Well, and now, I
which is
mean,
too bad. I would really like to meet the queen, you know, and I have the clothes for it. Probably not going to happen.
yeah.
So I don't know. What do I do with that?
Maybe they go under the house for a while. Because that's what I've been doing is the ones where I really can't get rid of them yet, is I
Yeah.
put them in a bin and it's like, okay, the next time we go under, because we've, made this commitment that we're not going to let our crawl space is smaller too. But we're
Hmm.
gonna, when you bring things up, some summer and winter kind of stuff, that we're gonna go through the things that we
Hmm.
can't keep stuff.
Hmm.
But also it is one of those where honestly, I want a capsule wardrobe. And the fact is, we actually mostly work with a capsule wardrobe anyway because we always pick our favorites.
Yep. So this is, I think, what I'm going to start doing is keeping track of what laundry I do every week because those are the clothes I'm wearing.
Right. That's a really good point. Yes, Paul's a little obsessive about laundry, so I can't really tell because sometimes like I can wear things more than once, right?
Oh yeah,
If I have a t-shirt on and then I put a sweatshirt on, I'll wear the sweatshirt another couple of
totally,
times.
totally.
But that's not how it lives in his world. But it is it's an interesting thing to think that you could have a capsule wardrobe. And what is it about us? Because we are not the only ones.
Nope.
Like I'd like to dig in a bit to the psychology of why. I mean, I love clothing. I'm a hoarder, but sometimes I look at things and it's like, no, like I'll never wear that. Why the freak did I buy it?
Well, and because I
Because you
would
made me.
say that you kind of introduced me to the joy of online shopping because I was not much of an online shopper. So between you and COVID, bad combination. So I started buying clothes online. I hate returning things, really hate sending
You're
things
funny.
back. So I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. Like, I wouldn't buy it. Oh, you already did buy it, honey.
Yeah.
But it's not like it can stay. So I can remember 3 sweaters from my most recent purchase from one site that I really like. I'm like, yeah, I don't love them. But of course, I bought 3 because it was a good deal and there's 3 different colors that I like. So now I have
Are you talking
3.
about those sweaters, the like knitty ones with kind
Yeah.
of really short
Mhm.
sleeves? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not great. They're
No,
not great on
it's
me.
not. Well, that's just it. Like it's not like the quality is bad or anything.
No.
They're heavier. They're like almost sleeveless, but they're heavier than I expected
Yeah.
them to be.
Yeah.
So it kind of like it discombobulated me because it's
So
like
how
these are
many?
not summer. I bought
Yeah.
two.
You bought 2. I bought,
I bought a black and a blue.
okay. I think I bought yeah, I don't know what I bought, but they're in my closet. I
But it
bought
is
3.
right. That's
Yeah.
the challenge of
So
it.
we have
Although I do.
5 between the two of us that we're not going to wear.
Yeah. Yeah, I did wear it once, but that's just it. I did recently because they had it on sale and it was Free People, and I should know better. Free People does not fit my body type, right? I really should know better. But I looked at the size and they said buy a size up. So I bought a 29, right? Because I wear 27, 28, maybe on a good day a 26, right?
Because you're
Like
skinny now.
I'm not that skinny, but
Yeah, you are.
on certain brands I can wear a 6, but they are loose brands, or an
Mhm.
8 is usually
Mhm.
it. Well, this is a 29 should be a 10 or an
Mhm.
11 or maybe even a 12.
Yeah.
Well, these are 29s. And honestly, I can't do them up and I have to struggle to get them over my hips. And they're really cool jeans. But by the time you send them back, so I didn't look at Free People's return policy. It's in the US and you have to mail it yourself. Well, that by the time I send it back, it's probably going to cost me what the jeans
Yep.
cost.
That's it.
Right?
That's
Is kind of it. So it's
Yep.
one of those where some of the others, like we've gone to some that they're really good about taking them back.
Mhm.
Right? But others not. But it is an interesting psychological experiment to ask yourself why you want to keep these clothes.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
I'm not sure I want to know the answer.
Well, that's the other side of
Yep.
it is like
Yep.
what Pandora's box am I opening up by
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
talking about it?
There's
Right?
some yeah, some deep-seated psychological
Oh, for sure.
stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
But
that
although having said that, you and I did buy kind of matching pants that are happy hour colors that
I
we'll
know
have to
we
wear.
did. They're
But they
so
were
cute.
to be fair, they're really cute. To be fair,
To be fair,
they were really cute, and they were already reasonably priced, like
it was
$35,
a
and they
really
were
good price.
40% off,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
But that is also the price of a good bottle of wine.
well, there, see,
So, yeah, choices. I don't know.
prices.
I don't know.
The pants last longer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Also, speaking of good wines, I think we should send some love out to all the wineries in the Okanagan who are
Oh
dealing with
my
so many
gosh.
things. Hey,
Oh, yeah. So I got you
yeah,
probably got the same message from Stonewall
yeah, yeah,
because they're not doing
yeah,
what do you call it? Their membership, like when
yeah,
you join their club, right? They're not sending that out because
yeah,
there's so many people that are struggling there. Last year was a bad year. The year before that was a bad year.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yet their
It's
wine
really
is so
yeah.
good. And how do they keep going? Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Like they've
Yeah.
had so they had fires, and then there were floods.
Yep.
Right, there was the
Vicious cold winter.
atmospheric river. That's right, a
Atmospheric
vicious
river.
cold winter. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and it's just like, oh my heck, these people, like
Yeah.
everybody thinks, wineries are like what you see on TV, right? Where you wander in the garden and you talk to the grapes, and it's like
Yeah.
such a hard job, and they're so
Yeah.
dedicated and passionate,
Yeah.
and the universe just keeps crapping on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
it's just brutal. And like that, I buy mostly BC wines
yeah,
and that's part of it. Like I really want to support them. I
yeah,
also buy New Zealand wine, but
yeah.
so those are sort of that's my source. But yeah, it's brutal to hear about what
Yeah.
they're going through.
It
So
really is.
buy Okanagan wine, help them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, we will put a link to the Okanagan Wine Club
Yeah.
and to Stoneboat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are absolutely faves of ours. And sometimes just sending, like I was thinking about it, I think I'm just going to send Stoneboat just a little email saying, "Hey, we're thinking of you," and
That's really
everybody there,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Like
That's
just a little something because it's harsh up there right now.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it
it's
is.
brutal. I know. And
Yeah,
when the wind shifts, like we had a couple of really smoky days down here. And of course, then we all are like, oh, we can't go
yeah,
outside, we can't exercise
yeah,
outside, we can't, do these
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Meanwhile, in 27-degree heat, my husband is out playing 5 hours of tennis or whatever he's doing. But anyway,
He's a
like
crazy man.
the smoke that we're complaining about, that's
Yeah,
nothing.
nothing
That
compared to
is
what we have.
nothing.
Yeah.
We're not being, ousted from our homes. We're not in danger
Right,
of
that's right. You're not being
homes,
evacuated. Like so many
Yeah.
of them have been evacuated.
Here's a little
Right.
word nerd moment for you.
Yes.
So you can evacuate a town, but if you evacuate a person, do you know what that means? Something that happens when you're in a nursing home and you maybe can't poop. Someone will
Really?
evacuate you. Evacuation, there's a verb and a noun form, and
Oh.
there's a whole, yeah. So if you say we were evacuated, I don't know that you want pictures of that going around.
Okay, so what would you say?
You would say our town was evacuated.
But what if it's just your street? Would you say our street was
Our
evacuated?
street was evacuated because the street had people removed from it. So if something is
Oh,
removed from your body, then you are being evacuated. And that is
oh,
not,
okay, that's interesting.
yeah. I mean, people use it that way all the time.
What's the same as nauseated and nauseous, right?
oh, that one I
There's,
always have
yeah,
trouble with.
I get it wrong too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it is. Although,
But every time I hear it, I'm like, I was evacuated. I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want
yeah.
to know what
Oh,
happened with
that's
you and your
interesting.
gloved
Our
friend.
street was evacuated. We had to leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, I'll probably
That's
cut that
interesting.
out because word nerd for the day,
No, I think it's a good, I think I like that one. I think, okay. So the other thing that we talked about was weird things, right? When we,
Uh-huh.
'cause typically with you and I, weird things happen,
Weird things happen.
right? I'm
Okay, you
not
want
sure many happened while we were here, but you have a pretty good weird thing.
to so our middle daughter had a birthday last week or the week before, and her partner asked if we would come and babysit the kids so he could take her out for dinner. We're like, absolutely, we're in. So we go, we have a great time with the kids, all good. I'm getting Junie bathed and getting
And
her.
Junie's now a year,
She's 18 months. Yeah.
18
So
months.
she's a year
Okay.
and a half. Yeah. And
Yep.
that kid, honestly, I think I have a sore shoulder from holding her. Like she is heavy but she's also walking. So she's just
Right.
on the go. So anyway, so I get her bathed and I get her into bed and the kids sleep in the same room now.
Yep.
I've got Junie in this little like sensory deprivation tank kind of thing that all parents use now. So it's all black in there, whatever. She goes to sleep really well. So she's asleep. So then we're getting able, we're, reading to him and, doing our thing. And that's all good. So then it's time for him to go to bed. And he knows it's like, okay, Junie's asleep. We have to be really quiet. So we go into the bedroom and he snuggles up, into his bed and he's got a bunk bed with a larger platform on the bottom and
Right.
then a play area up top. So he wants Grandpa to be in bed with him. So Grandpa crawls in and then Abel crawls in. So he's up against the wall and then Abel's
Yep.
next to him. And then he's like, Grandma, you have to come in too. And I'm like, I
Oh,
don't know that I'm gonna fit in there, but I will try. So I pretzel myself in there somehow and he's just snuggling and it's all great and we're like, stroking each other's faces and it's all
oh.
lovely. And then he falls asleep. And I'm like, awesome, good. Okay, I'll go out and this is good. So I pretzel myself out of the bed and go to the door, and the door is locked. And the door is locked from the outside. I'm like, oh no, this can't be happening right now. And I remember when Andrea told me that they switched the lock around because
Right.
he would get up and
Right.
and they have a small place and they're
Yeah.
like, no, you can't get up. You have to stay
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah.
I'm like, great. So Ray and I are both locked in the room with two sleeping kids. It's pitch dark. I cannot turn a light on because I'll wake the kids up. Can't make any noise. I'll wake the kids up.
And both of your
Um,
phones are probably not in the room with you.
nope, didn't have the phone with me because why would I bring my phone in? So his phone wasn't in, my phone wasn't in. I did have my Apple Watch, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get? Good thing I don't have to pee was my first thought.
Oh, I never
And
even
then
thought about that. Holy,
oh,
and as soon as I thought that, that would have been a whole problem.
oh, that would have been a problem. So then, mind you, there were diapers in the room. Oh, bad thought. Don't. So so then I get a buzz on my Apple Watch that says, "Okay, we're coming home. Can you grab Zoe and let her out into the hallway so she doesn't bark and wake up the kids,
Right.
the dog?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how to answer you on my smartphone. My smartphone is smarter than me. Don't you know this? Like I can't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know there's a way to do it. I'm sure there's a way to do it,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to do it. So I'm like hitting buttons kind of frantically. And I did hit one that says, it was an auto reply that says, come on in. So they came in and they opened the door. They are killing themselves laughing. They're like, how long were you guys locked in there? And really, it was only like 10 minutes. So it was fine. But I'm
It
like,
probably felt longer though.
well, I'm just really glad that they didn't have a long night out. They came back in.
What if they were out for the whole night?
Yes, they could have
Like
been out till
they were staying
midnight.
over somewhere.
I know. I know. They could have. It would have been bad. And so then they said, "Yeah, we actually do have little like skewers on the door jamb
Yeah.
above so you and I was already taking like one of the little kids toy because I'm feeling around. It's dark, right?
Right.
I'm feeling around like, "Oh, here's a toy. That's a toy that's got like it
Oh,
felt
it's got
like
like
a
tweezery
credit
things, right?
credit card, like a
Yeah.
credit card kind of
Right.
thing attached.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna jam that in there. I'm gonna get this lock open. Nope, that didn't work.
Oh,
Nope,
that's
not at
funny.
all. So anyway, that was my weird thing of the week. What was
Didn't
yours?
you tell me you wanted to be a lock picker?
Yes, so that reinvigorated my so I wrote a book. This was one of my Sunset Bay novels.
Right.
One of the characters in there, all of the characters have a shady criminal
Right.
past of some kind. And so hers was that she was a thief and she was a good, lock picker person.
Right.
So I actually ordered myself a kit so that I could learn how to pick locks because
Right.
I'm like,
Oh,
well,
you're funny.
I gotta
You
have
do have to
some
know. I
idea.
agree.
of what she does here. I didn't really learn anything. And of course I didn't have my picks with me, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Well, we're gonna have to start carrying those.
Yeah. Also my phone.
Yeah. But now I want to get branded lock picks for happy hour.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta learn. I gotta learn.
Yeah.
I gotta break into my house first and then maybe
That
break
but that
into.
would be that we could do a fun how-to video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that would fly on TikTok. We
I
might get
think that
arrested,
I
but
think that it would flag us in ways we don't necessarily want to be flagged at this point in our
I don't know.
lives. I
You heard my
don't.
political statements. I'm flagged for a bunch of things already. So
Yeah.
what's one more? Yeah.
Yeah. True. True that.
But that's actually a good thing to before we leap forward is the other thing for 2026 is we're heading to TikTok.
Yes, we are.
We're
I
we're
am
we're
going
not
kicking.
sure when we'll really be there, but we're going there, and by the end of August we will have a live TikTok account, and we'll be doing things there.
I am going kicking and screaming. I'm just going to say that out loud. And most people who know me are aware of that. So my sister Connie is
Yes,
probably watching. She's been on TikTok
yes,
for her book that
yeah,
she's got coming up. And she loves it. And she's like, Rox, you got to be on TikTok. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be on, I don't know how to do
We're
TikTok.
going to be on
And
TikTok.
Leanne, who also
Yeah,
watches us, she's on TikTok and she's really good because TikTok, the book talk part of TikTok
yeah,
is really good, especially
yeah.
for romantic fantasy, which Leanne
Right,
writes.
right.
So she's like, no, I'm going to be. So she's always saying things like, oh, you're so like techno savvy. I just laugh when she says that. But she's on TikTok. And if she can do it, then I can probably do it. This is what she assures me of, as my sister does.
Yeah.
So I
Well, we're
guess
going on. This is full force forward.
you say so.
I
And
say so.
you can hold my hand and get
I
me there.
will hold your hand.
All right.
I will take care of you.
They're gonna.
And now we leap from TikTok and this is something that we've had a couple of people talk to us about, but I think we're going to look at a bit of an ongoing, not always segment, right? But about women's pelvic health, because that's become a big like and more when I talk to people and already people in the community and other people I talk about the podcast with about happy hour is they're like, do you do this? Because there's this huge sort of gap out there of where do we go for information and what does this mean? And also, by the way, what's happening to me is probably happening to a bunch of you, and what's
and
happening to you is happening, and nobody's talking,
nobody's talking about it. As soon as
right?
you said that, I clenched. Did anyone else clench?
Right?
Did anyone
See,
else
I
clench?
crossed my legs,
Yep. And
right?
we don't want to talk about it. So I'm okay. Most people who know me are like, oh boy, she might want to shut up a little bit. But I've got some experience in this area and it's not great, but I've had recurrent bladder infections and issues with my bladder since I was 40 when I had the usual, runs of the occasional bladder infection that
Yeah,
most women experience. And then when I was 40, I had abdominal surgery for an ovarian cyst. And they took out my ovary. The cyst was benign. That was all good. But they used a Foley catheter during the procedure, right? Catheter, they pull it out and they give you a course of antibiotics, like one antibiotic. And they say, go home, might feel a little burny for a while, but you'll be fine. Well, I wasn't really fine, but I didn't really know that I wasn't fine because I'm like, well, they said I'd be a little burny, so
yeah,
and I'd had bladder infections before, so I'm like, oh, it doesn't really feel like that.
right.
So I kept going back to say like, I think this isn't right, but can you why is this
Yeah,
uncomfortable? And so finally, I got to a urologist. Urologist did a scope. That's just going to say that's a place where you don't want a camera, but also sometimes you need it.
yeah,
And he found a little particular spot, and there's a name for this. I can't remember what it's called, but a spot of infection, just one little area that was
right.
infected in my bladder. So I had a 6-month course of antibiotics
Oh my
to try and
gosh,
wipe that out,
right.
and that seemed to work.
Yeah,
But I don't. But it's left me with a. I call it an irritable bladder. I have an irritable bowel. I kind of have an irritable personality. I kind of have an irritable voice. Or maybe it's just an irritating voice. I don't know. But I'm like, well, that tracks. That tracks. So I have off and on had bladder issues for
yeah.
much of my adult life, and then menopause hit. And I'm like, oh, well, now this isn't good. This isn't improving things here.
Yeah.
So I take medication for bladder spasms, and
Yeah.
that generally keeps me, fit for
Yeah.
human company, at least,
Yeah.
able to
But
take it
but it
on.
is, right? Like there are all these things. And I mean, I've had it. I've had recurring bladder infections all of my life. And nobody could, every time I'd go, they're like, no, you're good. And it's like, it doesn't feel good. Right. And then of course menopause. And I think it's time to talk about like honestly, and as soon as you say this, because when Terry was visiting, we talked a bit about it too. And it was like every woman leans in and either crosses their legs or does, clenches. And
Yep.
it's like this is an important conversation. And it's
Hmm.
funny because not having children, I don't think about the childbirth side of it, which also it's not just when you hit menopause. I mean, it's like
Hmm. Hmm.
little kidlets are cause some havoc,
Hmm.
right? And so it's like so it runs across the thing. And I was young when I got my first bladder infections, and it was like, what the hell, man?
Hmm.
How is this? How come nobody else is understanding? Like this
Hmm.
hurts
Hmm.
and it's dangerous,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
right? And so I think it's time to start talking. And and we're doing a little bit of work with this fellow. It's a clinic here, and they have a shock therapy, which has been really good for my hands, right? So it's for arthritis in my hands. But he does a whole series of things for both male and female, right? Health, right? Including, erectile dysfunction and all that. Although I can't imagine him because it's a thing that kind of on my hands, it kind of feels like a tat like there's movement, there's pressure,
Hmm.
right? This thing
Hmm.
that does it. It's shock waves coming in. I
Hmm.
was like, how do you do that on a penis? Right. And he said, but because it's like they don't really feel it there because it's mostly muscle, right? It's when it hits bone that you can feel it more,
Okay. Okay.
right? Kind of thing. But apparently they do it for women too.
When it hits
And
bone.
I know when I said it, it was like, oh, let me take that back. But I want to talk to him more about it. But like I would absolutely try it, but I'm not trying it with the person I'm writing social media for.
Nope. Nope.
Right. It's like he does have another register. He's a registered nurse. And so he's got another person there. And I might do that just so I can come back and say, here's what it did. And also
Hmm.
it helps my bladder infection.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I did go for one session of pelvic floor
Yeah.
physiotherapy, and it was mostly diagnostic, and
Right.
and she was able to say, well, you know what, like mostly I'm testing your muscle strength, and
Yeah.
also that's a bit weird, but
Yeah.
she's like, no, you're like everything seems mostly fine, and
Yeah.
so I'm thinking that probably this is just part and parcel of something that happened
Yeah.
to 23 almost years ago,
Yeah.
that it isn't really going to change, but
Right.
you know
Right. But you
but
don't know.
but
And that,
if you get it early, like
yeah.
if you get somebody, and she did tell me now, like she said, if I had come to her 23 years ago, they
Right.
would not have, like, I probably wouldn't have had the amount of antibiotics I've had. I probably wouldn't
Right.
have the antispasmodic drugs now.
Right.
They would be trying other things first,
Right.
but I'm kind of over
Right.
that. So
Right.
I'm kind of
Right.
stuck with what I have. But
No, but it is interesting because we all kind of walk around going, oh, am I the only one? As soon as I start to laugh, it's like, oh, I better be careful,
hmm
right? It's kind
don't
of stuff. And,
sneeze,
and well, oh,
cross your legs.
especially if you're laughing, right? The whole thing. But then it was like, you and I have talked about it, Terry and I have talked, like anybody you talk about, and the next sort of thing I want to talk about is one of the things I'm hearing more and more from people is about making new friends as later in
Mhm.
life. But one of the
Making new
people
friends in the pelvic health clinic.
well, later in life. Yes, in the pelvic health, we're going to go hang around the pelvic health clinic and see if we can find. But so a lovely woman, Natalie, that was at the workshop, the jewelry workshop that I did. Her and another person that was there, Kim, are going to come and have coffee on Monday. So I will take photos if they let me, and we'll put it in. But one of the things she reached out after we had met, and she reached out through happy hour and said, she was interested, and we were chatting, and she was talking about whether we had done anything on making new friends. And I know I have to go back and see what episode we had, but it's another theme that keeps coming up,
Hmm.
right? And it's one of those things. But she also said, because I said, well, what else do you think? And she came back with pelvic health, which was interesting to me because it
Really?
appears to be this sort of this this topic that's out there in the world, and
Mm-hmm.
we're starting to talk about it. But it was interesting to me, and she was talking about, and I want to learn more from her about their, and I think this is who maybe you went to, as a pelvic physiotherapist,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's very interesting that there are these things, but until you talk about it and she talked about it, I didn't know they were out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you don't
How would
even
you
know where to
know?
look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
right.
And your doctor may or may not refer you to someone like that, right? Because they're not necessarily trained in that area. It's a very specialized area that has
And
changed a great deal in the last
well,
few years.
and also coming out, because we're talking about it and all that kind of thing. And
Hmm.
the other thing I have to say, I have a female doctor now who I love, but before that, I had male doctors.
Hmm.
And I think it's really hard, and this is not throwing shade, but it's really hard as a male to understand, even though you can have all of the knowledge of the female body. You don't know what it feels like when all of a sudden it's like, oh, my bladder infection's back,
And
right?
it's really difficult as a woman. Like you and I think have learned a certain amount of frankness or the
Yeah,
ability to set some of that aside. Because I've got a male gynecologist, and
yeah,
I really like him, and I'm very frank when I talk to
yeah,
him, and he's
yeah,
very frank back with me.
yeah,
And it's not weird. He's also
yeah,
about my age, right?
yeah,
And he's someone who's worked with my daughter, which is weird, but
yeah.
but
Yeah. And
you know, so
you have to kind of get past that. And
yes, you do.
if the person, because we first went to Murray, who's registered, and we'll put the clinic name up. I first went to him and he really helped with my hands. And then I kept saying, hey, why don't more people know about this? What about, and like
Hmm.
I kind of
Hmm.
finally he was like, do you want to do some social media for us? And it's like, yes, because I think he does something. And then we started talking, and I was asking, what are the things that we nobody would know about? We started
Hmm.
talking, and as he's saying it, it's like, I'm interested in that. And then it was like, I'm not coming to you now that you're kind of a client, right?
Nope.
It's like that's just too like,
Nope.
but
Put
somebody who
people in
isn't,
boxes and they need to,
but
yeah.
that's just they need to stay in their little
Hmm.
slots.
Hmm.
But I think it's good if you have a doctor. I've always had older males as doctors,
Hmm.
even growing up, and I think that sort of conditioned me,
Hmm.
right, to
Oh
be
yeah.
like, well, I'm not talking about that here,
Nope. Nope.
which makes no sense.
Which makes no sense, but it is also natural. Like I remember as a little kid, we had an older male doctor. I really liked him, but and at that point I wouldn't have had any sensitive issues,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But but now I have mostly tried to have women doctors
Yeah,
or yeah, I should say during my childbearing years, I had a really good clinic. They were male doctors there, but they were a little different. They were, as Ray would say, the hairy armpit, hippie, granola
right,
crunching type
right.
of doctors,
Yeah,
which worked for me,
yeah,
and they were fine that way. But that's a lot of learning. Like
yeah,
I've had to kind of push myself out of
yeah,
that and say, look
yeah,
at here's my problem. I need you to help me with this. And
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and the flip side, I do have to say, because as a kid who grew up in downtown Toronto, where you did have community, but it was a big city. I live in a small town now. I don't want to be out for dinner and look across the table and see the guy that,
Correct.
just all the things,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's just, and I realize that makes me sort of old fashioned and maybe a bit of a
No.
Puritan, but it's weird.
But I think it's weird on the other side too. Like
Oh, for sure. It's got to be, right?
my husband's doctor is his best friend. We saw them
Yeah.
yesterday. We had lunch
Yeah.
with them at our house.
Yeah.
Right. And he said my husband Ray
Right.
said to me like when he started seeing Dave, he's like, "Oh, you should get on with Dave too." And I said, "Yeah, that is not happening, honey.
No.
I'm just not. Like I love Dave
Yeah.
as a friend.
Yeah. There's
And
got to be that,
and I
that
know
boundary.
and unfortunately for me, I know he's a really good doctor
Yeah.
and he takes his time and he does the things and all
Yeah.
that. But I'm like, no, I can't. I just
No,
can't.
it's just too weird. But
Yeah.
but let's just for 2 seconds, because I think we could do something about the making of new friends. I went to the jewelry workshop by myself on purpose because I wanted to do that, and it wasn't like, oh, I want to go by myself. It was like, I want to know I can do this by myself, right?
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
and
that's
so
a good distinction.
I've never had like a problem because I used to travel a lot by myself. Like, I don't care. I'll go to a restaurant. I will go to a bar. I will,
Mhm.
like, that stuff never bothered me. But stuff like this, it was always like, well, where's my partner in crime kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
went on purpose, and a couple of people have reached out, and now these lovely ladies are going to come in and have a coffee. And I think you were talking about going to something too, right? Like you went to,
Mhm. So I started with the rock choir. I did that when we lived still in our Creekside home. I did it one
yeah,
year, and then I signed up for the rock choir here because there turned out to be there was one close to where we were moving to.
yeah,
I've been to two practices, and I think I've pretty much given it up.
right.
But that's strictly a scheduling thing,
Yeah,
right? But I
yeah,
went there, and this is my like this is nightmare scenario stuff for me. Walking into a room where everyone else knows each other and they're all
yeah,
talking, and then maybe you walk in and something's already started or whatever, and all the eyes turn like this. "Hmm?"
yeah,
And they look at you, conversation dims, and I'm just like, I want the floor to open up and
yeah,
swallow
yeah.
me
Like,
whole,
can I,
right?
if I turn and run, will they notice?
Right. And of course they will, because the spotlight's on you right now, honey.
Yeah,
So yeah, I hate that. But that tells me though that that's what I need to do.
yeah,
So yeah, there's a few things happening locally in the community that I'm going
yeah,
to go to. I haven't signed up for anything yet, but
yeah.
it's been busy. But you're so right though. Like that's the hard stuff to do, what you're doing, and well done you.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's part of it is necessity, but the other part is I never I grew up fearful. That I was going to say I've never been fearful, but I always just walked through it somehow, right? It was like,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm,
okay, I'm scared, whatever. And
mhm.
now it's like, I don't know, can I? And meanwhile, I have way more experience and I am far less intimidated. And also, I actually don't care if people don't like me anymore. I care if you like me. I don't care if a couple other people, I care if my dogs like me. But then it's like, so why is it so hard now? Right? I think we make assumptions that everybody has their friend group from high school, and that's just not true, right? Or
Oh,
they're already established. Like every woman, again, it's the same thing. I talk to is like, I don't know, like they're like, how, what do you do? And one of the things I'm thinking about doing is inviting a few women and then saying to them, bring a friend with you and not somebody that you would maybe tip it like let's expand our circles out so everybody brings a different person to
hmm,
like a little happy hour or something
hmm,
so a whole bunch of people get to meet new people right
hmm,
not just me
hmm, hmm.
right is something like that and it's like it's one of those where I'm fortunate because I like to do stuff like that not
You
everybody
do.
does
You're really
but if
good
you
at that.
have an instigator all you have to do is say yes.
Yeah, that's true. You are sounding exactly like, what did I say this lady's name is from the book that I just read? She's this reclusive, crazy, need dare I say crazy woman who decides to just invite, she handpicks these women to come because she wants to spend time with them and she sees something in them. And I think there's like you really have a gift for that. I was talking to Ray about that. And I said how like, okay, so in the time that I've known Ruth, she has become friends with our hairdresser, her
I love Charlie.
cleaner,
Yeah,
like
and
they're
Karina.
both wonder, and there's been many other. Those are just the two off the top of my head,
Yeah,
right? But there's been many others because you will interact with somebody and then kind of dig a little bit deeper below the surface to get to know them, and then be like, well, why couldn't we be friends? And Ray is like, well, that's just weird. Like nobody does that, like because
yeah,
that's who he is. That's,
right,
that's how. But he has also in his professional life, his challenge has been stepping back
right,
because he meets all these people and they want him
right,
most of the
right.
time. He's like, wait. And he's become friends with a lot of them
Yeah,
and with mixed results, right?
right, right.
So he is, I think, a little bit worried about you, but
Yeah.
but also like that is kind of that's how you that breeds success because now
It,
you have more friends than you used to have, you
but
know?
that and it's like travel. It's like one of those where it's like you meet people. I still have people that we met when we were in South Africa at the game drive, and I'm still connected on social media, and we interact. I have
Hmm.
people at the hotel we stay at this little we call it Dog Beach, Panwa Beach in Thailand. There's two or three of the young sort of hotel workers. And they're telling me about their schooling and all these things, and
Oh,
there's all
cool.
this but for the most part is the ones that don't matter kind of dribble away.
Right,
Right.
right.
And the other ones stay connected and things. And it's like, and I mean, you and I are very similar. It's like I'm truly curious
Mhm,
about their
mhm,
lives and what they're doing. And it's like, tell me more. And
mhm.
okay, so Briley, our hairstylist who just had a little baby, like she's a therapist because I've been there a little early, right? And I hear her talking to and all this stuff, and it's like she is this young woman. I think she just turned 30, and you know, and I see how sort of old soul she is.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Briley, because we did this, then Briley brought her mom on a play date with us, right? She brought her
She
mom
did.
over for what,
Well,
which
I mean,
was really cool.
to be fair,
To be
she
fair,
may have been a little bit terrified and brought her mother for comfort and support.
no, because she had already been there. She had
No,
already
she
come,
hadn't. Had
hadn't
she?
she?
I
Yep,
don't
she had
think
already
so.
been there with her husband. Yep, I'm going to
I
ask her.
think you're hallucinating now.
We'll look
But
back. But anyway, but her
but
mom is lovely.
her mom is lovely. Like she's like, "Oh, this is super. Yeah, that was really nice."
Mhm.
But you're unusual in that way, Ruth. Like I think you know that.
Are you saying I'm a weirdo?
You're unusual in many ways. But
Yes.
this is one of my favorite ways,
Yeah.
right? Like because you're good at that. You see
But they're
people
so
that
interesting.
people are interesting. That's the thing. If and I think this is where
Okay, many people are interesting. I need to
many
qualify it.
yeah, many people, well, I think probably most, if not all people are interesting. Not all people are willing to let you see them though,
Right.
right? So that's the thing when we get into a conversation and somebody is willing to interact
Yeah.
authentically
Yeah.
and maybe it's not like you want to have somebody spill their darkest secrets to you
No.
on the first meeting. It's not like that, but it's like they're willing to engage. But if they're willing to engage,
Yeah.
then you can do something with that. But if they're not, if they're very buttoned up or, you know, crossed-armed or they won't give anything of them like they if they
Or
don't want to,
the flip side to that is if all they do is talk about themselves.
that's another
Right.
sign that
There's
maybe
the flip side, but then
yeah.
you learn, right?
Hmm.
And it's like and one of the things that I think because I've traveled by myself,
Hmm.
is sometimes you end up sitting for dinner and somebody says, "Hey, do you want to join us?" Or somebody sometimes come up who's alone and said, "Could I join you?" Right?
Hmm.
And all of a sudden you do it and you have this interesting conversation, but that's where it ends, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
so and off they and it's like, "Hey, it was great to meet you." It's like sitting in an airport bar and you have a
Hmm.
conversation.
Hmm.
Not everything has to turn into a long-term friendship relationship.
It
Sometimes
doesn't.
you just have a moment,
Yes. And
right?
a moment can be perfect in itself. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to go anywhere. But you never know when something's going to be something more. And you don't get that option if you don't try.
What that's just it. And also sometimes you might try and realize it was just a moment and you both sort of walk away going, yeah, that was really cool,
Mhm,
but no.
mhm,
And again, it's not, there's no shade on anybody. It's just
mhm.
like we're we're not a long-term match, but you can appreciate the moment. And then if it is more than that, if you actually find things in common,
Yeah.
right? Then there's a reason to keep going forward.
And it doesn't really matter if it turns into something else or not. Like for me, for I remember the first time that I actually did that with a stranger and I was at like I used to go to writers conferences a lot. I haven't
Yeah.
for a few years, but the first time I went to the Surrey Writers Conference and even though I'm close enough I could come home and stay and then return for the sessions in the
Yeah.
morning, I always book the hotel and
Yeah.
stay there because things happen after the
Yeah.
sessions are over, right? They
Yeah.
always do. I don't want to have a glass of wine and maybe,
Yeah. The best
you
part
know,
always happens in the bar
it
after, right?
really does. It really
Yeah.
does. So I was there one time and I was there in between master classes or something and I just needed to get a bite to eat. So I went to the bar and ordered a meal and I ended up eating with there was a woman who was also eating alone or she came in and I said, "Hey, are you meeting somebody or do you want to join me? You can
Yeah.
join me if you like." And she did. And for me, though, that was like a heart thumping,
Oh yeah.
adrenaline pulsing,
Yeah.
shame inducing. She's not going to like me. Why would she want
Yeah.
to sit with me? She's going to think I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
Ah. But she
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, maybe she did. How would I know? But we
Right.
sat and we had a meal together and we had a
Yeah.
conversation. I have no idea who she was. She probably doesn't
Right.
remember me. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We still had a really nice time.
You had a moment.
We had a moment and could have, maybe somebody will come up to me in October this year and say, hey, I'm the one that you sat with
Yeah.
at the bar. And I'll be like, so nice to meet you. I have zero memory of you. Whatever. But
But that's like, and you take those risks. And I think I've talked about this
mhm,
book, and I really
mhm.
do have to go find it in my 5,000 books on Kindle. But it's about they did this study and they used two people, and it was like it was about luck. And they talked
Oh
about they
yeah.
put one person and they put them out in amongst people in the world, and this person engaged in conversation all the time. And they were considered luckier. They had more opportunities presented
Mhm.
because they engaged. And then they put somebody who didn't, right? And the thing is, you reach out and you chat, and there are times, because there are times these days when you start chatting and then you realize somebody might be a Trump supporter, or or a Polyev, whatever his freaking name is, I can never pronounce, supporter, and you're like, yeah, yeah, no, thank you, right?
Mhm.
But until you engage, you don't know. And I think I still feel exactly like, it's like, oh my God, am I actually going to do this? What am I going to do? Why would I do this? What? And then it comes out of my mouth and it's like, oh, I did it.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
it's like, what did I do? And what are they going to say? And oh my God. And then they come and sit and they're like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't know who to talk to.
exactly.
Right?
Like the funny thing to me about going to a writers conference is that all writers are introverted. Some of
Yeah,
them are more
yeah,
functional and
yeah,
extroverted, and I have become more
yeah.
functional and
What's that called? The ambivert? Is that what that the
Yeah, I think
introverted
so. Yeah,
extrovert, or the
yeah,
extroverted
yeah,
introvert or something? Yeah.
yeah. The extroverted introvert. But I'm like, everybody's feeling that way. Everybody around you. So if you're feeling nervous and fearful, and those are the
Yeah.
perfect situations where people are, then you be the one to take the risk. And probably somebody else would be like, wow, I wish I could be extroverted like her. And
But you,
meanwhile,
you don't know
I'm
what they're thinking, right? Like
looking for a
because that's
bathroom.
exactly. And if
Hmm.
you can, like, and I think because there were many times I had to go to like events and stuff when I was working in journalism. You go to these events and you're standing there by yourself, and part of your job is to be there, so you're kind of paying attention and taking notes and doing the things. But then you're like, holy man, nobody's opening their circle. Well, why can't I open a circle then?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, I've spent all my life looking around going, why isn't somebody doing this? And finally going, oh, well, I guess
Maybe it
somebody
needs to be
could, and
me.
it could be me.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Right?
and we are really running over time now, I
Okay.
think. But
Oh, there's a lot. Okay, well, we do have to shift on, but we are going to do more talk about this. And
mhm,
maybe it's just even little tips and hints. And maybe we'll give you, all of you, a little challenge every once in a while of, hey,
mhm,
go out and do something.
mhm.
And we'll go do it too and come back and report back.
Well, and
Right?
I would just like to say for everybody that this is why we're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
This is a big part of why we're doing it. First of all, we don't know how to do we didn't know how to do a podcast when we
Yes.
started. Now we know more than we used to, so we've learned stuff. But also, we want to be the people to be like, hey, join us. Like come and talk to us. What do you
Yeah.
want to talk about? Because
Yeah.
everybody has a story. We've clearly
Yeah.
got many. Whether they're interesting or not remains to be seen.
Yeah. But
But
we've got them.
you don't know something until you try it. So, we're trying this. Thank you guys so much for being here with
Yeah.
us for that trial. And maybe we can encourage somebody else to go out and try something they've never tried before.
No. No, and I think that's exactly, and this is, we want to grow this into a community so that we can have in-person meetups and we can do the things and we can do stuff. But the other thing is, if you can think of Friday as coming here and sharing and talk with us, right? We're not just here talking at you. Come and tell us what you're thinking.
Mhm.
We'll engage.
Mhm.
And so now it's time to do the either or, Roxanne. And this week it's mine.
Okay.
Okay, so either or, Roxanne. Your thoughts get broadcast on a screen above your head for a day, or you have to narrate everyone else's thoughts out loud as you imagine they're thinking.
Oh, I can narrate everyone else's thoughts.
Okay, that's pretty. Yeah, I would have to do theirs because nobody's can see what's in this little dustbin in
No
here.
one needs to know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nope, that so we're on the same page with that one.
Okay, what
Okay.
else?
Would you rather live in a world where wine only comes warm, or a world where cheese doesn't exist?
Oh, it's a terrible world.
It is.
Wine only comes warm or cheese doesn't exist. I guess I'm going with the warm wine.
I think we just have to drink red.
Yeah, we just drink red.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, get one uncomfortable truth said to you to your face by a stranger every day for a year, or never get an honest opinion from anyone again.
I don't value honesty that much, apparently, because I don't think I want all that. That sounds like a lot of pain to me.
But yeah, I would like the uncomfortable truth.
Would you?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I could take it. I'm not that
Okay.
strong. I'm not that strong, Ruth.
You are that strong.
Ugh.
Okay. And here we'll just do this one more because we are running a bit late. Never have wine again or never have sex again.
Um, that's such a funny question, Ruth. That's such a funny question, Ruth. I will drink
Yes.
wine with my
Yes.
husband.
Well, there you go. Okay, but then we won't quite finish on that one then. It's very
So now
funny.
you have to answer wine or
Okay.
sex.
I'm not answering that. But I think you
Chicken.
know, although to be fair,
To be fair.
I did use AI to get some of these, and what Claude said to me when I did this was, the question is never have wine again or never have sex again, and Claude said we already know the answer for at least one of us.
I read that and I'm like, what do you mean?
It
Who?
was
Which
it was
one?
AI talking to me. It was
That's creepy.
It is creepy. It is creepy. Okay, I have one more because
Also,
we
they
don't want
meant
to.
you.
Yeah, I know exactly because I'm always talking to Claude about food and wine. Um, never be able to lie again, even the polite kind, like I love that gift, thank you, or never be able to tell the truth again, even the important kind.
Ooh. Ooh. I guess never be able to lie again.
Yeah, I
I,
take that one.
I'm pretty
These are
close.
real moral dilemmas for
I'm
you,
pretty close to that anyway. Just don't ask me. But
right?
oof.
Don't
Gross.
ask what you don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
But yes, we will come back because Roxanne and I had a very long conversation about either ors, and I think it came from Amy Poehler. Is that right? The
It
either or?
did. We watched,
Okay.
so Ray and I watched or listened to a podcast on the drive to the ferry. It was Amy Poehler's Good Hang podcast. Fantastic. It's
Yeah.
just so great. And her question, the question that I told Ruth that blew Ruth's mind was, would you rather eat, it was something about food.
Noodles and butter.
Oh yeah, noodles and butter for the rest of your life, or would you rather have whatever you want to eat, but it happens on a moving bus for the rest of your life?
So I had questions.
Oh
Was it
yeah,
a
lots of
moving bus by
questions.
myself? Because
Yeah,
although it would be a pain in the neck if you were really comfy and you had to go out of the house into the bus. But if it was like a regular freaking transit bus, how
no,
you can eat lobster like that?
I like noodles and butter,
I
actually.
like noodles and butter too.
Yeah,
But it is one of those where it was like,
I
it
need
was like,
more.
but I have questions. I'm actually going to reach out on social media to Amy Poehler and say, come on, man, we need some more criteria.
We need more
Like this is
criteria.
keeping me up at night
Exactly, exactly.
because I like noodles and butter, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I
I made
know.
pasta last night and I made really good penne Bombay pasta with all sorts of veggies and curry chicken,
Ooh.
and it's really good. Except I'm having it again tonight and it's already like, oh, I'm not a
Mm.
really good leftover person.
See, I am a good leftover person. If I like something, I could probably eat it every day,
Yeah.
as long as it's still good, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so what are you grateful for this week?
I am grateful for I am grateful for linen, actually, because this is such a good season to be wearing linen. And I haven't worn a lot, but I'm wearing this linen from Vibe Apparel right now, and I love it.
Oh,
What are
it's
you
nice.
grateful for?
I am grateful that we're going to get off here now and then dogs won't bark anymore because they only bark when we're recording or I'm in a meeting.
Yep,
So as much as I hate to say goodbye, that's
it's
the
time.
deal.
It's time. So what do we want more of, Ruth?
Oh, we need more happy hours. And Roxanne, what do we want?
We want less bullshit.
Yes,
Absolutely. And now
yes.
we're going to sign off and say thank you to everyone for being here. And we're going to say thank you to Leanne and
Yes.
to
Now,
Harry and to Nat and to Connie and
yes,
to
that's right. And for
uh
sure Terry, because
and
Terry,
Terry,
Terry
absolutely.
is forward. She's got some good ideas. We're really grateful for the people who show up all the time. I mean,
Yep.
Connie and my sister Bev and
Yes.
Laurie, and there are so many people that show up all the time,
Yep.
right? That
Yep.
that that make this better.
Yep. Yep. They do.
Okay, well, everybody have a great weekend.
And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, okay, bye.